Imagine that there is a river of abundance constantly flowing around you, an invisible yet real river, made of energy, of possibilities, of infinite supply. Now imagine that, without realizing it, you've built small dams in that river, invisible blockages that prevent the flow from reaching you. You didn't do it with bad intentions. You don't even know these dams exist, but they're there, locking away your abundance, diverting the prosperity that should naturally be yours. Florence Scovel dedicated her life to studying something that most people are completely unaware of. She revealed that there are spiritual laws that govern the flow of money, laws as precise as the laws of physics. And when we disobey them, even unknowingly, we create invisible barriers to prosperity. But here's what you need to understand right away. This spiritual disobedience has absolutely nothing to do with divine punishment. It's not God punishing you. It's not the universe being cruel. It's not negative karma chasing you. It's simply that you're out of alignment with the frequencies that attract abundance. It's like trying to tune an FM radio station to an AM frequency. It doesn't work, not because you're evil, but because you're on the wrong channel. Have you ever wondered why some good, hardworking, well-intentioned people remain in financial difficulty their entire lives? They wake up early. They do everything right in the physical world. They pay their bills. They save when they can. They are honest, upright, and dedicated. And yet, money seems to elude them. Prosperity remains distant. Abundance never truly takes hold. Why? Because they follow human rules, but violate the spiritual principles of wealth. They obey the laws of the material world, but disobey the laws of the energy world. Catherine Ponder, another great prosperity teacher, taught something revolutionary. She said, there is a spiritual law of supply, and when you work with it, not against it, abundance flows naturally. Work with it, not against it. This is the crucial difference between trying to force money to happen, desperately pushing for results, and allowing it to flow through natural obedience to spiritual laws. One is swimming against the current, the other is floating with it. And here's what fascinates me most about these acts of disobedience. They are so common, so widespread in the collective consciousness about money, that they have become normal. Everyone does it. Everyone repeats it. Everyone lives like this. But normalcy doesn't mean alignment with prosperity. Just because everyone else is breaking these spiritual laws doesn't mean you have to keep doing the same. So today, in this video, you're going to discover the 5 most common spiritual disobediences that block your abundance. 5 invisible patterns you're probably repeating every day without having the slightest idea that you're sabotaging your own prosperity. And most importantly, you will learn the practical correction for each of them, the exact way to restore the flow of abundance that has always been your divine right. Are you ready to see what has been invisible? So take a deep breath with me, and together, let's uncover these truths that can completely change your financial life. The first of these acts of disobedience is so subtle, so automatic, that you probably committed it today without realizing it, perhaps several times. Florence Scovel dedicated years to studying the devastating power of this specific violation, and she warned clearly, every time you say, I never have money, I'm poor, I can't afford it, you are doing something far more dangerous than simply describing your situation. You are decreeing scarcity as a personal law. Think about that for a moment. When you talk about your lack of money, when you repeat your financial limitations aloud, when you describe your scarcity to yourself or to others, you are not just stating facts. You are creating, you are commanding, you are legislating over your reality. This is the invisible disobedience that most people don't recognize, using the word to describe limitations instead of addressing manifestations. Your tongue, which should have been your greatest tool for creating wealth, has become the enemy of your own prosperity. You are using the power of the spoken word against yourself every day, multiple times. And here's where it gets even more subtle. You might be thinking, but I'm just being honest. I really don't have any money. Why should I lie about my situation? And that's where the mistake lies. Complaining about your financial situation, even if it's technically true right now, keeps you magnetically connected to the frequency of lack. It's not about lying. It's about understanding that every word carries a vibration, and that vibration attracts more of the same frequency. When you say, I don't have money, with the emotion of frustration, fear, or shame, you are sending an energetic wave into the quantum field around you. And this field responds by bringing more experiences aligned with that frequency. More lack, more scarcity, more situations where you don't have money. There is a self-destructive pattern that I see repeatedly. You tell a friend about your financial difficulties, then a family member, then a colleague, then another acquaintance. And every time you tell the story, you relive the emotion, you reinforce the belief, you water the scarcity seed that's growing in the garden of your mind. It's like taking a watering can every day and carefully nourishing the plant you least want to see bloom. Florence Scovel had a clear and powerful understanding of this. She used to say, watch every word about money as if you were writing a spiritual check. because it exists. Every statement about your finances is a check you're signing to the universe, and the universe, in its perfect neutrality, will cash that check exactly as you wrote it. If you write scarcity, you receive scarcity. If you write I don't have, you receive more of the experience of not having. So how do you correct this disobedience? How do you stop using your words to work against your own prosperity? The first technique is simple, but it requires conscious vigilance. Whenever you find yourself speaking negatively about money, pause, breathe, and immediately declare, I cancel that word and decree, abundance flows to me now. It's an instant reversal, a correction command. You can't erase what's already been said, but you can neutralize the frequency and replace it with a new statement. It works like this. You were about to say to someone, I'm out of money, I can't go, but you realize it in time. You pause, and you say, I cancel that statement. Abundance is flowing to me now. I'm reorganizing my financial priorities at the moment. Can you feel the difference? One statement traps you in scarcity. The other acknowledges the present moment without crystallizing it as a permanent identity. There is also the power of yet. Such a small word, but it changes everything energetically. Instead of saying, I don't have the money, you say, I haven't manifested that money yet, but it's coming. The word yet keeps the door open. It acknowledges that you are in process, that this is a temporary moment, not a final verdict. Florence Scovel suggested something she called a verbal diet. 21 days of zero complaints about finances, only declarations of abundance, present or in motion. It's a spiritual fast. You are cleansing the verbal pollution that has contaminated your prosperity frequency. In the first few days, you'll realize how much negativity your usual conversations about money were. This might be shocking, but it's necessary for the transformation. What if you need to explain your financial situation to someone? How can you do that without violating spiritual law? Be factual without declaring permanence. Instead of saying, I'm broke, say, I'm currently reorganizing my finances. Instead of saying, I don't have money for anything, say, I'm prioritizing my resources differently now. You're being honest about where you stand, but you're not identifying with scarcity as if it were your permanent essence. Let me tell you about John. Joan was 45 years old and worked as a salesman, and he had a habit. Complaining about money was his way of starting conversations. Everything is so expensive. I never have any money left over. This country doesn't give anyone opportunities. I'm always in debt. He didn't realize it, but he was using his voice to declare scarcity dozens of times a day, until someone introduced him to the teachings of Florence Scovel, and something clicked inside him. He decided to conduct a radical experiment. For 30 days, he wouldn't complain about money, not once, and whenever a negative thought arose, he would transform it into a declaration of abundance. The first few days were difficult. He would catch himself in the middle of a complaint and have to stop, breathe, and correct himself. But something interesting started to happen in the second week. He realized his energy was different, lighter, less heavy, and the people around him began to respond to him differently. On the 23rd day, a customer he had unsuccessfully approached months before called out of the blue, making a large purchase. There was no apparent explanation. This is the first act of disobedience, and its correction. But there is a second, equally devastating one that you need to know about. Now tell me something with complete honesty. Where does your attention focus for most of the day when you think about money? Is it about what's missing or about what you wish to manifest? Is it the bills you can't pay or the abundance you're summoning? Are you dealing with financial problems or with prosperous solutions? If you're honest with yourself, you'll probably notice something uncomfortable. You spend about 90% of your mental time focused on what's missing, and maybe 10% on what you want. And the universe, which responds to your attention like a child responds to the gaze of its parents, delivers more of what you feed it with focus. This is the second spiritual disobedience, a violation that Florence Scovel called idolatry of the problem. Idolatry doesn't just mean worshiping a religious image or idol. It means obsessively devoting your energy, your time, and your emotional attention to something. And when your bills, your debts, your financial limitations receive more emotional energy, more repetitive thoughts, more mental attention than your vision of abundance. Spiritually speaking, you are worshiping the problem instead of the solution. You have transformed scarcity into your altar, and every day, you go to that altar and offer your vital energy to it. Think about how many times a day you check your bank account, not out of practical necessity, but out of anxiety. How many times do you mentally calculate what you're missing, how much you should have, how much you need but don't have? How many hours do you spend ruminating on your debts, going over your financial worries, predicting monetary catastrophes? This is not financial prudence. This is a ritual of worshiping scarcity. And every time you do that, you are energetically nurturing something you don't want. You might be thinking, but I need to be realistic. ignoring my financial problems isn't going to make them disappear. And you're right, ignorance is not the answer, but there is a huge difference between taking conscious action on a financial situation and obsessively ruminating about it, between looking at your finances with objective clarity to make decisions and emotionally immersing yourself in the energy of fear, lack, and despair multiple times a day. The first is responsibility. The second is worshiping the problem. Florence used a powerful metaphor to explain this. She used to say, "Your attention is like a spotlight on a dark stage. What you illuminate with that spotlight expands, becomes more visible, occupies more space on the stage of your reality. If you illuminate lack, lack expands. If you illuminate financial fear, fear multiplies. If you obsessively illuminate debt, it seems to grow and dominate your entire experience. But what if you redirected that spotlight? What if you illuminated the solution, the abundance in motion, the possibilities unfolding? So how do you correct this lack of attention? How do you stop worshiping the problem and start nurturing the solution? Florence Scovel had a specific exercise for that. Every time financial fear arises in your mind, every time the image of your debts or your lack of resources tries to dominate your consciousness, you make a firm but gentle statement. You say, mentally or in a low voice, "I refuse to give power to this image." And then, immediately, you replace it with a resolved vision of abundance, not a vague fantasy, but a clear image of you living with your needs met, with money flowing, with financial peace. It's a conscious substitution. You're shifting the spotlight away from the problem and towards the solution. There is also the 5-minute technique. Upon waking, before grabbing your phone, before checking your finances, before diving into the day's worries, you spend 5 minutes visualizing your life with money flowing in. How would you feel if money was no longer a concern? How would you breathe? How would you walk? What would your chest feel like? You're not pretending to have money. You're setting the vibrational tone for the day. You are telling your nervous system, "Today, we are going to operate at the frequency of abundance, not scarcity." And your nervous system, which doesn't distinguish between reality and emotionally charged visualization, begins to reorganize itself accordingly. Here's another powerful technique. How to transform financial worry into a prayer for prosperity. Every time the thought, "I can't afford this," arises, you don't suppress it. You acknowledge it. And then you breathe consciously and say, "The path is being prepared for me. The solution already exists, and I am being guided towards it." You are taking the same energy that would be wasted on worry and redirecting it toward active faith. And there's something important you need to stop doing immediately. Stop checking your bank account 10 times a day. Every anxious check sends a wave of doubt into the energy field around you. You are literally repelling what you are trying to attract. Decide to check your finances once a day, or twice, if really necessary, with objective awareness, not with panicked emotion. This is not irresponsibility, it's vibrational discipline. Florence also taught something she called the as-if principle. Live an entire day as if the money you need is already guaranteed. I'm not saying you should go on a spending spree irresponsibly, but I'm saying you should maintain the emotional frequency of someone who is financially secure. How would you behave if you knew your money was guaranteed? How would you treat people? How would you make decisions? You would live with more lightness, with more inner generosity, with more peace in your heart. So live like that, even if the money isn't in the account yet. Because emotional frequency is what attracts manifestation, and you are teaching your body to vibrate in abundance before it materializes. The third form of disobedience is one that appears prudent, but is actually imprisonment. Florence Scovel had a phrase that scared a lot of people when she said it. She stated, "What you hold back in fear, you lose. What you release in faith, returns multiplied." But most people do the exact opposite with money. Let me ask you something delicate. When you have money in your hand, what is your first reaction? Is it about holding on tightly, anxiously calculating how much you can or cannot spend, feeling afraid that it will end and never come back? If the answer is yes, you are committing the third spiritual disobedience. You are blocking the flow of circulation. This disobedience looks like prudence. It looks like financial wisdom. It looks like responsibility, holding on tight to every penny, refusing to help when you could, meagerly calculating every little expense. But spiritually, this stifles the flow of abundance, because money is energy, and energy needs to circulate in order to multiply. When you hold on to money because of greed, fear of losing it, and desperation to let anything go, you create such a dense vibrational field of scarcity that it pushes away financial opportunities. People sense it in you, the universe senses it in you, and unconsciously, both drift apart. Now, let me be very clear about something. It's not about giving what you don't have. It's not about being financially financially irresponsible or putting yourself at risk. It's about releasing the suffocating attachment to what you have, trusting that the supply is infinite. It's about not letting fear completely govern your decisions about giving, helping, and sharing. There is a difference between conscious economy and energy stinginess, between financial planning and imprisonment by fear. Florence used the analogy of the river to explain this. Imagine a river. The water flows freely, going in and out, constantly circulating. Now imagine that, fearing the water will run out, you build a dam. You completely block the outlet. You don't let anything flow out. What happens? The water stops flowing in as well. The river stagnates, because a river needs movement in both directions to stay alive. When you build a dam out of fear, preventing anything from escaping, the flow of water stops coming as well. Giving allows one to receive, not as a transaction, but as an energetic principle of circulation. So how do you correct this disruption of circulation? Florence Scovel recommended something she called breaking the scarcity spell. Whenever you feel afraid of lacking something, give something away, no matter how small. It could be 5 reais. It could be 2 reais. It could be 50 cents. The monetary value doesn't matter as much as the vibrational gesture. Through your actions, you are telling the universe, I trust that there is infinite supply. I do not operate on the frequency of scarcity. I circulate with faith. And before giving any amount, you make a declaration. You say, mentally or in a low voice, I circulate this abundance knowing that it returns multiplied through infinite channels. You are giving with spiritual awareness, not with sacrifice. If you really can't donate money right now without putting yourself at risk, donate something else. Give your time. Give a sincere smile. Give a genuine compliment. Give your knowledge. Give your presence. The universe responds to the act of circulation, not to monetary value. You are breaking the retention frequency and activating the flow frequency. But here's something fundamental. Give with joy, not with sacrifice. If you are giving this while feeling pain, feeling loss, feeling like you are losing something precious, the vibration of your donation is one of scarcity, and you attract more scarcity. But if you're dealing with the energy of, I have enough to share, I am a channel of abundance, I trust in infinite supply, the vibration is one of abundance, and you attract more abundance. Let me tell you about Anna. Anna was 38 years old and was going through a very difficult financial period. Unemployed for months, she was living off small, temporary jobs. She watched a video about the law of circulation and thought, this doesn't make sense. How am I supposed to give if I barely have enough for myself? But something inside her whispered, try it. Anna decided to donate 10 reais a month, just 10, to an institution that fed homeless people. For the first 2 months, nothing happened externally, but she noticed something changing inside her. She felt less terrified, less suffocated, as if she had created space to breathe. In the 3rd month, a former co-worker called out of the blue. There was a temporary job opening in another state, something Anna would never have considered before. But this time, she said yes. 6 months later, that temporary job became permanent, with a better salary than she had before losing her previous job. Anna later told me, those 10 reais didn't change my bank account. They changed my vibration, and it was that vibration that attracted the opportunity. Now we come to the most hidden form of disobedience of all, the one you probably never admitted out loud, maybe not even to yourself. Have you ever felt a pang of sadness when you saw someone thriving? A friend who bought a new house, a colleague who received a promotion, an acquaintance who is traveling, living well, seemingly without financial difficulties. And at that moment, deep down, you felt, what exactly? Perhaps a tightness in the chest, perhaps a bitter thought, perhaps a silent comparison, perhaps even a harsh word about luck or privilege. This is the 4th act of disobedience, the silent envy of others' prosperity, and Florence Scovel was relentless in talking about it. She revealed, when you resent someone else's wealth, you're telling the universe that wealth is wrong, something to be denied, including to yourself. Every time you feel financial envy, you are instantly blocking your own abundance. Why? Because you are sending your subconscious the message that prosperity is something negative, something to be criticized, something that causes pain when it appears. And then your subconscious, trying to protect you from pain, pushes prosperity away from you. You might think you're not envious. After all, you don't wish ill on anyone, but pay attention to the subtle comments you make or think. It must be nice to have money like that. So-and-so was lucky. Easy for those born with a silver spoon in their mouth. I don't know how she does it. She must have some kind of scheme. These comments may seem harmless, but they carry vibrational poison. Poison that contaminates your own frequency of prosperity. And social media has made it even more dangerous. You spend the day seeing posts of people living well, traveling, shopping, achieving. And every time you feel that contraction, that why not me feeling, that bitter taste in your mouth, you are digging an energetic chasm between yourself and your own abundance. Florence faced a simple yet devastating spiritual test. She asked, "Can you genuinely celebrate the wealth of others? Not with envy disguised as joy, not with forced happiness, but with true and unhindered celebration. If you can't, there's a deep knot of unworthiness within you that needs to be untied. Because if you subconsciously believe you don't deserve prosperity, seeing someone who has it will cause you pain, always. So how do you correct this disobedience born of envy?" Florence had a specific daily practice. Every time you see someone prosperous, every time you hear news that someone has achieved something financially, every time you encounter the wealth of others, you declare mentally with conscious intention, "I celebrate this abundance, and I know that infinite abundance exists for me as well." It is an instantaneous transmutation of energy. You are taking the impulse of envy and transforming it into recognition of possibility. There is also the exercise of transmutation that Florence taught. When you feel financial envy rising, take a deep breath, and then mentally bless that person, saying, "May your prosperity grow even more, and mine as well." You're not asking for her prosperity to decrease so you can have more. You're acknowledging that there is enough abundance for everyone, and this recognition releases the internal knot that was blocking its own flow. Why is this practice so powerful? Because you are training your subconscious to associate wealth with something positive, readily available, and natural, not something to be denied, feared, or criticized. Your subconscious learns, wealth is good, wealth is possible, wealth is celebrated, and then he stops sabotaging his own prosperity. Florence also taught people to use the prosperity of others as evidence of their own potential. When you see someone thriving, instead of thinking, "Why can't I?" think, "If the money is flowing to her, the quantum field allows it. That means it can flow to me too. The possibility exists. It's been demonstrated. Now it's just a matter of alignment." You transform the trigger of envy into a portal of hope. And here is the profound healing that needs to happen. You need to understand, not just intellectually, but viscerally, that another person's wealth does not diminish your share. The universe has no shortage of abundance. There is no limited amount of money available in the quantum field of possibilities. When someone prospers, it doesn't mean there's less left for you. It means the flow is active, that manifestation is happening, that abundance is moving. And if it's moving for someone else, it might move for you too. Scarcity is a mental illusion you've created, and envy is a symptom of that illusion. When you heal from the belief in scarcity, envy naturally disappears, and with it, the biggest obstacle to your own prosperity. And now we come to the final act of disobedience, the one that Florence Scovel considered one of the most fatal, because she seems so innocent, so relatable, so human. Answer me honestly. When was the last time you felt deep gratitude for the money you already have? Not because of the amount you'd like to have, not because of what's missing, but because of what's already present in your financial life. When was the last time you genuinely gave thanks for having something to eat today? For having a roof over your head? For having transportation? For having clothes on your back? If you're like most people, your answer is almost never, because you're too busy looking at what's missing, too busy waiting to have more so you can then be grateful. And that is the fifth spiritual disobedience, postponing gratitude until you have more. Florence Scovel clearly warned, waiting to have more money to be grateful is telling the universe, what I have now is not enough. And when you send out that frequency of inadequacy, what do you think the universe sends back? More experiences of inadequacy. You are living at a frequency of, it's not enough yet. And this vibration repels manifestation because it denies the good that is already present. Ingratitude for little creates a magnetic field of lack so powerful that no amount of external effort can compensate for it. Because you're not celebrating the flow. You're lamenting the volume, and then you get more of the same. More reasons to complain. It's like a plant that's beginning to bloom. The first flowers appear, small and shy. But instead of celebrating them, you complain, but there are so few. I want a full garden. And the plant, unrecognized, stops flowering. There is an even more subtle mistake that most people make, giving thanks only for large sums of money and completely ignoring small financial blessings, an unexpected discount on your bill, a payment that came through on time, a need met exactly when you needed it, someone who offered you something that saved you money. These small manifestations of abundance go unnoticed by you because you're waiting for something big, something dramatic, something that really counts. But it is precisely in these small gestures that the muscle of gratitude needs to be strengthened. Florence used a powerful metaphor about this. She used to say, if you ignore the first flowers because you want a complete garden, the flowers will stop growing. Gratitude for the small things expands the great. Ingratitude for the small things prevents the great from arriving. So how do you correct this disobedience of ingratitude? How do you cultivate the frequency of financial gratitude that attracts abundance? Florence had a simple yet transformative practice. At the end of each day, before going to sleep, list 3 ways in which money served you today. Not 3 great financial achievements, but 3 simple, everyday, perhaps even unnoticed ways. Maybe you ate today. Money bought that food. Perhaps you had a roof over your head. Money provided that shelter. Perhaps you used transportation. The money allowed you to travel. Maybe you had a coffee. You had running water. You used electricity. You wore clean clothes. All of these are manifestations of wealth operating in your life right now, but you take them for granted, as if they were nothing, as if they didn't matter. And there is a powerful decree that Florence taught. A decree that instantly changes your frequency from lack to abundance. You say, with full awareness, I recognize and am grateful for the richness that is already at work in my life at this moment, not for the wealth that will come, for the wealth that is already here. This opens the channel for more, because you are acknowledging the flow that already exists, however small it may seem. There is also a more advanced technique that can completely revolutionize your relationship with money. Be grateful for the bills you can pay. Don't grieve for the ones you can't have. Be grateful for the ones you can. Thankful that I was able to pay my electricity bill this month. Thankful for being able to buy food for my family. Thank you for paying the rent on time. Can you feel how this changes your frequency? You are no longer in the position of a financial victim. You are in the position of a co-creator who recognizes your ability to meet your needs, even if it's just a few needs, even if it's not all of them yet. You're celebrating what works, not just lamenting what's missing. And Florence taught something even more powerful. Thank you for the money that hasn't arrived yet. Thank you in advance. Thank you for the money that is on its way to me now. Grateful for the financial opportunities that are forming behind the scenes. Gratitude for the abundance that I cannot yet see, but that already exists in the quantum field of possibilities. Why does this work? Because gratitude in advance is faith in action, and faith is the magnet that pulls the invisible into the visible. You're not pretending you already have it. You're acknowledging that you're already in motion. Let me tell you about Mariana. Mariana was 41 years old and had been in serious financial difficulties for 2 years. She had accumulated debts, a salary that barely covered the basics, and a constant feeling of sinking. She was always complaining, worried, anxious, obsessively focused on what was missing, until a friend suggested something that seemed absurd, starting a gratitude journal about daily abundance. Mariana thought, grateful for what? For being broke? But she decided to try, not because I believed in her, but because she was desperate enough to try anything. Every day, before going to sleep, she wrote down 3 small expressions of abundance. In the first few days, it was difficult. She could hardly find anything to write about. Thankful that I was able to pay for the bus today. Thank you to a colleague for sharing her snack with me. Grateful to have hot water in the shower. Tiny things, but she persisted. In the second week, she began to notice more things, as if her eyes were opening to manifestations of abundance that had always been there, but which she had never recognized. On the 23rd day, something changed inside her. She couldn't explain it, but the tightness in her chest had lessened. She felt lighter, less desperate. And on the 30th day, she received a completely unexpected call. A distant uncle, whom she barely knew, had passed away and left her a small inheritance. It wasn't a fortune, but it was just enough to pay off her main debts and breathe again. Mariana told me later, with tears in her eyes, it wasn't the inheritance that changed my life. It was gratitude that opened me up to receive it. Because I know that if that had happened 2 months earlier, when I was still living in total ingratitude, I would have squandered the money in panic and returned to the same place. Let's breathe together for a moment. You have just discovered the 5 spiritual disobediences that block abundance. 5 invisible patterns that most people repeat every day without having the slightest idea that they are sabotaging their own prosperity. Speaking against your own wealth. Worshipping the problem instead of the solution, blocking circulation out of fear, envying the prosperity of others, postponing gratitude until you have more. And now you might be feeling a little overwhelmed, maybe even discouraged, thinking, I do all these things. How am I going to fix all of this? So let me bring clarity and relief to you. Florence Scovel spent decades teaching these spiritual laws, and she always made a point of saying something fundamental. Spiritual laws are not punitive rules. They are not commandments meant to make you feel guilty or inadequate. These are principles of harmony. These are frequencies of alignment. When you align yourself with them, prosperity flows effortlessly, without struggle, without the need for you to work yourself to exhaustion. You simply go with the flow, and the flow carries you to the abundance that has always been your birthright. And understand something very important. These 5 acts of disobedience do not make you a bad person. They do not make you unworthy. They do not condemn you to a life of eternal poverty. They simply disconnect you from the frequency that attracts money. It's like being out of tune tune on a radio. You're not bad for being on the wrong channel. You just need to adjust it. And the adjustment doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be instantaneous. It doesn't need to be without stumbles. Neville Goddard, another great master of manifestation, complemented Florence's teachings with a profound truth. He used to say, "It's not the world that needs to change, but the consciousness that observes it." When you correct your inner obedience, when you adjust your vibrational frequency, when you align your consciousness with the spiritual laws of prosperity, the outside world naturally reorganizes itself to reflect this internal change. You don't need to force it. You don't need to control it. You don't need to desperately manipulate external situations. You just need to align yourself and allow it. And here's something that few people understand about true prosperity. It doesn't come from working longer hours. It doesn't come from sacrificing until there's nothing left to give. It doesn't come from forcing results through exhausting effort. True prosperity comes from aligning oneself more deeply with the laws that govern the manifestation of wealth. It comes from obeying the spiritual principles that move the energy of money towards you. And when you obey these laws, the universe conspires in your favor. Doors open, opportunities appear, paths become illuminated. Not because you're struggling more, but because you're flowing better. Florence always told her students something that I need to repeat to you now. You don't need to be perfect in these acts of obedience. You just need to be mindful. You'll stumble. You'll forget. You'll fall back into old patterns from time to time, and that's okay. Power does not lie in immediate perfection. It lies in loving self-correction. Every time you find yourself speaking against your prosperity, you correct it. Every time you catch yourself worshiping the problem, you redirect it. Every time you feel envy, you transmute it. And each conscious correction changes your financial vibration, little by little, degree by degree, until one day you realize you are no longer fighting against scarcity. You are flowing with abundance. So here's my practical invitation for you. Don't try to correct all 5 acts of disobedience at once. That would be overwhelming. Choose 1 act of disobedience per week to consciously work on. Week 1, watch your words about money. Practice verbal dieting. Cancel and correct every statement of scarcity. Week 2, redirect your attention. Practice the 5-minute morning visualization. Refuse to give power to images of lack. Week 3, practice mindful circulation. Give something small. Release attachment. Trust in infinite supply. Week 4, transmute envy. Celebrate the prosperity of others. Use it as evidence of possibility. Week 5, cultivate daily gratitude. List 3 ways money has served you today. Be grateful for what is already present. 5 weeks, 1 act of disobedience at a time, awarely, kindly towards yourself, with clear intention. And while you're doing that, notice the subtle changes. Pay attention to the small synchronicities that begin to appear, to the opportunities that arise out of nowhere, to the doors that open unexpectedly, in the invitations, in the ideas, in the casual encounters that become bridges to abundance. And trust in the natural unfolding of prosperity, because when you stop resisting spiritual laws and begin to cooperate with them, something magical happens. Florence Scovel summed it all up in a sentence that changed thousands of lives. She said, "When you stop resisting spiritual laws and begin cooperating with them, the universe conspires to deliver your prosperity faster than you ever imagined possible, faster than you ever thought possible. Not because there's any external magic happening, but because you've removed the invisible blockages that were preventing the natural flow of abundance. You cleared the river, and now the water can flow freely to you." So tell me, are you ready to stop disobeying the spiritual laws that govern your prosperity? Are you willing to make the simple yet profound adjustments that will restore the flow of abundance in your life? You can start today, right now, this very moment. Choose 1 act of disobedience, the one that resonated most with you, the one you most recognized in yourself, and practice the correction for a whole week, awarely, intentionally, with faith in the process. The river of plenty never stopped flowing around him. You simply built dams without realizing it. Now you know where they are and how to remove them. The flow is waiting for you. Prosperity is available. Abundance is your divine right. You just need to align yourself. Obey, cooperate with the spiritual laws that have always been working in your favor. And when you do that, prepare to be amazed at how quickly the universe responds. Because spiritual obedience is not submission, it is alignment. And alignment is the fastest path to manifesting the prosperity that has always been yours.